Hi everyone, this is Professor Barro, and this is a video slide deck version of your syllabus for Marketing 101, the online course version. So I'm Valerie Barro, and I'm going to be your instructor for the course. When I'm not managing these online classes, I run a small consulting company. Most of my clients are healthcare related. And I typically advise them on their digital marketing services. Your course location is going to be via the Moodle system, and I will post another video tutorial on accessing Moodle. Many students who already attend other colleges or attend Santa Barbara City College are already familiar with Moodle, but I definitely recommend that you take some time to familiarize yourself with the system before we jump into all of the assignments and quizzes and other items that will be due throughout the semester. The best way to get in touch with me throughout our course is through Moodle. I've created a forum discussion board where you can post questions, and the nice thing about this is it allows us to create a knowledge base or an FAQ section. So you can always review these other questions to see if maybe another student has already asked the question and I've already provided an answer. So I recommend that if you need to get in touch with me regarding questions about the course, that you post them to this board on Moodle. And again, please check out the Moodle tutorial for directions on how to do this. Again, because this is an online class, I don't have traditional office hours. What I do instead is I make myself available from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time via a conference call Bridge. So you can dial into this number and use the access code, and then we can all join a group call to discuss any items in person. Even if you don't have questions, I recommend that you join because some other students might have questions that will help you or provide additional information, and it's just a nice way to facilitate this group contact since most of our instruction is one-on-one and at your own pace. I also wanted to let you know that I have a Facebook group for current and former students. The link is on Moodle. You can click here and join the group. I'll have to approve you to join the group. I definitely encourage you to join because when the class closes, this is a good way for you to stay in touch with me if you're interested in that, and a way for you to stay in touch with your classmates as well. Also, in my face-to-face classes, students are required and encouraged to post interesting marketing news and events to this group. So if you are looking for a place where you can get some extra information of what's going on in the world of business and marketing specifically, this is a nice place to get that news. So you're taking an online class, and if you haven't taken an online class before, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about what I think the biggest differences are between taking online courses and taking in-person courses. So the first one, of course, is that taking an online course requires a lot of self-discipline. At the City College and at city colleges throughout California, we have requirements on how many hours and how much time a class takes. And typically we spend about 3 hours in class, and students receive up to 6 hours of additional work to be done outside of class. But with an online class, all of that work, 9 hours a week of work, is done online. And it's also done at your own pace. So the reading, the studying, and the assignments are done on your own time. And of course, you're responsible for understanding the due dates. We don't have a face-to-face interaction where I can remind you that assignments are due or quizzes are due or that there's a midterm coming up. So it really is your responsibility to understand what's required of you in the course, to ask questions if you need any clarification, and to make sure that things are getting turned in on time. The second thing, of course, is that in an online class, you really get out of it what you put into it. So What I mean by this is you have the ability to interact with me and have me provide additional guidance on the material throughout the class. You can use the Q&A forum, again, to ask questions, and you can join my weekly conference call to get additional information. And you also manage your own interaction with the other students. So depending on how much effort you put into the forums, you'll have a more in-depth and meaningful discussion there. And you can also work to facilitate offline interaction with your students. So I just want you to consider these things as we go along, that you're really as an individual, you're in charge of how much you really do get out of this class. So I encourage you to interact with me. I encourage you to interact with your other students. I think the instructor, the course materials, and the peer-to-peer interaction are really, they really build on what you can get out of a college course. So let's talk about attendance. Obviously, in an online class, we don't meet together. I don't take attendance. I don't know where you are Monday morning when I release the shell for the week. But you should know that if you have not completed any assignments or posted in the course forums by the second week of class, you will be dropped from the course. This is a requirement of the college. So make sure that within the first couple weeks, you are posting and completing the assignments. Otherwise, if you decide to drop the class, it is your individual responsibility. So if something happens, you have some kind of emergency, and you are unable to complete the requirements of the course, it is your individual responsibility to drop it. Otherwise, you will receive an F in the course. Okay, so let's talk about the grading system. These are the elements that make up your grade in this course. You will have reading quizzes, which are worth 10% of your grade, forum discussions, case study assignments. You will have 3 of those. You will have a midterm exam, and you'll have a final exam. So I'm going to talk about these in detail. So your reading quizzes. Each student is given 15 minutes to complete 10 multiple choice questions from the week's reading assignment. So every week you will read the textbook and review the PowerPoint slides, and then you will take a reading quiz, which is 10 multiple choice questions. I use a very large question bank to draw these questions for, and they are randomly selected from this bank. So essentially, no student will receive the same question set. The questions also randomize, the answers randomize, and all of this is to prevent cheating as much as possible. Once you complete your quizzes, you will only be able to see the score that you received. Again, this is to prevent cheating. The answers and the responses and the response that you selected, you can review those, but only once the quiz has closed. So quizzes and all assignments will typically open on Monday mornings. They will close Sunday at 11:59 p.m., just about midnight. And after those close, then you can log back in and review how you did and see the questions and the responses. The due dates for each of the quizzes are listed within the quiz. I try to make this as clear as possible. So again, it's up to you to review when the quiz opens and when it closes. No late quizzes are accepted. So if you miss a deadline, then unfortunately you won't receive credit for that quiz that week. Within the quizzes also, there are specific directions for using the quizzing system. So it's very important that you review this. It'll explain to you, a version of Java that you might have downloaded and how you can't close the window out and come back to the quiz and some other pitfalls that commonly occur. So make sure you review that. What I've done is I've created an orientation quiz that is ungraded. It's worth 0 points, and it's available under the course documents for you to test the system. So you can play around with this quiz. It's open. There's no time limit on it, so you can log in and see what you can test the quizzing system. Forum discussions are worth a quarter of the grade, so this is a pretty meaty portion of your grade. There is one forum discussion for every chapter covered in the course. Sometimes the forum discussions will just ask you about your thoughts and opinions. Sometimes it will require you to watch a video and then respond, complete a field study, like visit a store and tell me about your experience. I use these forums to gauge your ability to think critically about the information that you've actually read in the chapter and then relate it back to your own experiences. So I do expect you to put in considerable effort into your responses for these forums. I will grade them based on the quality of your posts and your responses. So what do I mean by that? Well, each forum is worth 10 points. So 5 points go for your original post, and an additional 5 points are for your follow-up posts. So you are required to respond and engage other students in the class with responses to their forum posts. And these will add up to 10 points. Now, you may earn additional points for extra responses. So let's say that I grade you a 3 out of 5 on your response, and you're looking to receive full credit. You can post an additional response to another student, and this is open and available for you to receive credit for it. However, all of the grades max out at 10 points, so there isn't any opportunity here to receive extra credit just by posting. So at a minimum, you need to be posting twice a week. Like I said before, the more you post, the more you get out of it. So I encourage you to engage in some meaningful discussions through these forums. The case study assignments are also worth a quarter of the grade. Throughout the semester, you have 3 case study assignments. They're worth 50 points each. These are a written report. They are in lieu of us doing a group project or a term paper. So instead of writing, a 12-page marketing plan, you're going to write 3 3-page papers. The case studies are used to gauge your ability to synthesize the information in the textbook and also to think creatively about materials. So again, I encourage you to take these very seriously, these written reports that are due throughout the semester. Now, these are open at the beginning of the semester, so for any of you overachievers, you can start on them early, but they do have various due dates, so check Moodle for when each of them are due. I will base the grading on the quality of your assignment. So even though you have a maximum of 3 pages for each of these assignments, I'm really looking for the quality of your argument over the length of your paper. I'm also expecting you to follow directions. So if the case study is asking for 4 questions and you only answer 3, then you're really only eligible for 75% of the points. So just keep that in mind and answer every question and follow all the directions. The specific details for all of these assignments and what you need to do are found on Moodle. I use Google Docs for the submission process, so please make sure you read the directions, and there will also be a video posted on how to submit your assignment via Google Docs for anyone that's having any trouble with that. The midterm and the final grade are worth 20% each. You will be taking these via Moodle. You're given 75 minutes to complete 50 multiple choice questions. So you have to complete the exam in one sitting, but I give you a full week to study and complete it. So the week of the midterm, there is no other work due, but once you sit down and start the exam, you have to complete it in one sitting. Here's a little hint for those of you who are smart enough to watch this video. I use the same question bank for the midterm and the final as I do for the quizzes. So before you take the midterm or the final, I highly, highly recommend you go back to your reading quizzes and review your answers, see what you got wrong, see what the right answers are. There's no guarantee that the questions are going to duplicate, but there is a very good chance that some of them will, so I recommend that you review your answers here. I will also post a study guide a week before the exam. Of course, because you're at home and no one's watching you, the quizzes are open book. You can use whatever resources you want, but keep in mind that you have a limited time to complete them. So don't, I guess the best way to say this is just be prepared. The textbook for this class is Contemporary Marketing, the 16th edition by Boone and Kurtz. The custom edition that we have for this class is a City SBCC edition. It only removes certain chapters that we don't actually cover in this course in order to make it potentially less expensive for students, but nothing else about this book is custom. So it's not required that you buy the custom version. You can buy this through the bookstore. You can buy this on Amazon.com. You can get it from another student as long as you have it, because the textbook is required. Many of the assignments and all of the test information come from the book. I have many students often ask me if they can use a previous edition of the book, like the 15th edition. You know, I would say that you can, but keep in mind that I cannot make accommodations for you. So I don't know how they differ, and I won't be able to answer questions like, oh, what chapter is this topic in the 15th edition or the 14th edition? So a lot of it comes down to the resources you have and other students that might be able to provide this information for you. But I don't want to stop you from ordering it if it's a budgetary requirement, let's say. Before we close, just a few policies about at Santa Barbara City College. Of course, plagiarism or cheating is not tolerated. There's a zero tolerance policy here. So if you're caught cheating on any assignment, plagiarizing a report, or cheating on a quiz or exam, then you automatically receive an F in the course and you're reported to the dean. It's always better, in my opinion, to do poorly over cheat, because you can always come back from a deficit in your grade from let's say, a missed quiz. But once you're reported to the dean, that's something that's on your record, and it really can impact whether or not you're able to continue taking courses at Santa Barbara City College. Finally, if you're a disabled student, I definitely accommodate the requests for assistance, extra time, everything that goes along with being officially part of the Disabled Students Program. However, I need to receive written notification from the Disabled Students Program. So if you are a DSPS student, please make sure that you visit the office and make sure that I get the paperwork. Otherwise, I cannot provide you these accommodations. Well, thank you very much for reviewing this video. I'm looking forward to having you in my course this semester. And again, don't hesitate to join the call every week to ask questions or post your question to the Q&A forum online.